What is going on, students? It's Devlin Cassidy, aka the Scholar, back with another deck profile, rounding out the deck set. Deck profiles here. We got Jewel Knights here for you all today. Before we get into the profile, if you guys still need any cards, any of these deck sets, anything like that, please go shop with my team sponsor at kingslayercards.com. Use the promo code SCHOLAR, save 5% off on your order. Not only does this help support me and the channel, but it also supports one of the best stores in the game, as well as most importantly gets you cardboard, so please go shop with them. And then if you love any of these amazing products here, between like sleeves, playmats, deck boxes, the whole 9 yards, please go shop with my product sponsor at dankrichhole.com. They have so much amazing product, and I hope that you are satisfied with them as much as I am. But that's enough talking for me today. This is one of the coolest decks I think right now in the format, one that I've wanted to play now for a very long time. So without further ado, let's get into it. So of course, like I say, V-starters are broken. This is just the Jewel Knight name, so it fits the aesthetic, but you can play whatever royal starter you would like. Then I have one copy of the Old Salome here. So this Old Salome is what allows you to get into your Crest here with the Evangeline Stride. She has a cool effect where you can act Counterblast 2, and you call a Jewel Knight rear card from your deck to rearguard circle, and then her limit break 4 ability is when she attacks. If you have 4 or more Jewel Knight rearguards, she gets plus 2k in a crit. And the reason that's important for these is that Evangeline gains her abilities as well with the Crest. So very cool things to pinpoint out there and be cognizant of. But that's not the goated Salome. I got the goated Salome, which is going to be 3 copies of the V-Series Salome right here. The V-Series Salome is insane. It needs to get like its own award because this card is really cool. In combination with Crystal Luster, this card is absolutely broken. So Salome's effects is Counterblast 1 at the end of battle. This unit attacks. You can call up to as many cards to rearguard circles that have units on them as you can. And then if you control 3 or more Jewel Knight rearguards, you can Soul Blast 4 at the end of calling them to restand her, which is meaning you're restanding Crystal Luster. And then even the more cool thing is that when a unit is placed on top of her, you can Counterblast 1, give that unit 10k in a drive. And since it's placing, it works with striding, so you get to turn your Crystal Luster off rip into a plus 10k, so she's automatically 38 with quad drive. So really good card. Salome's like the MVP. One of the best cards in the deck for sure, hands down, what you want to be riding after you do your whole Evangeline Stride turn. Then on to the grade 3s for support. I got 4 copies of Ashley here. Ashley's really good. Ashley is at the end of the battle, she attacks, you can Soul Blast 2, call a Jewel Knight from your deck to rearguard circle. And then the cool thing is that if she's on Vanguard circle, you can call 2. So there's some times where like you may have to ride her just to like thin out deck, or you haven't found a Salome but you want to like effective Crystal Luster turn, so you ride this to go into the Crystal Luster. So the card's really good because you get to call 2. But also is really neat is the fact that like all the multi-attack extensions you can do with her, because if you're under the GB3 on Crystal Luster, this card becomes very dangerous because it's free attack extension that doesn't cost a counterblast. So really good in that sense. And then the last grade 3 I have in the deck is just one of the Ashley reverse. I was trying to figure out like deck space to maybe include or not include Bracing Angel Ladder, but I think that this card for the Link Joker matchup is a little bit too important. Plus it's another like really good like unit grade 3 that has the Jewel Knight card in that you can call and not get affected necessarily by like the Salome restriction, which is why I feel pretty comfortable playing the Ashley reverse. And so Ashley here is like Soul Blast 2, lock a card, and I believe you call off top 4. Yeah, you choose one of your opponent's front or rear guards, retire it, and then you look at the top 4 cards of your deck, you choose one with Jewel Knight and its card name from among them, you call it to rear guard, the rest on the bottom of your deck in any order. And then when she attacks, you have 2 or more locked cards, Counterblast 1, search your deck up for up to 2 grade 2 or lower cards with Jewel Knight and their card name, call her into rear guard. And then this unit gets plus 10k for each of your locked cards. And then if you have 3 or more locked cards, your opponent cannot call Sentinels from hand to guard. So helps you just in the Link Joker matchup, especially the Chaos matchup. So this just helps you play around that. She's really good for that reason. On to the grade 2s here. Playing 4 copies of Exposed Jewel Knight Laylee. This card is like the best grade 2 in the deck. This is actually the only card in the deck that lets you go +1 back into the deck, which you will come to find the more you play this deck, you see this continual thing of, oh my goodness, my deck is getting very, very low. So this card actually lets you put back one, because even though you soul charge, you're putting back 2 units. Most of the soul charge stuff trades like 1 for 1, putting cards back into the deck, and especially in the grade 1 slot. So we like her for this, absolutely. So Laylee's really good, but then the reason she's like the best grade 2 in the deck is because she lets you give the unit that places over her 10k. So she acts as a pseudo force marker, so if you have to go second, this lets you actually still have your powers hit pretty consistently, so it's really good for that reason. 4 of another really grade 2 in this deck. This is 4 copies of okay, I can't read that name, it's Syllable. It's Dogmatized Jewel Knight Syllable. She's really good. So on swing, you can choose a grade 2 card lower from your hand, put it into soul, then draw a card. So she's a really good cycle, helps you get your soul up for the Salome turn. But then when she's also called over, you can look at the top 3, call a grade 2 or less Jewel Knight from among them to rearguard circles. So again, she's really good, helps you just be very consistent in terms of like your on-place efficiency. And then the card that's low-key kind of like gatekeeping people out right now of getting this deck is 2 copies of the Banding Jewel Knight Miranda. Miranda was not reprinted in the deck set, so everyone started searching for her so that way they could start playing Jewel Knights. And you guys obviously see what happened. She got bought out with the mean like $20,000 listing. But Miranda's pretty good. So her thing is that when she attacks not boosted, you can counterblast 1 and you can match your Vanguard's power with her. So she's really good in that regard. And then you get the whole thing of when she's called over, you get to soul charge 1, and then if you have no face-up cards in your damage, you get a counter charge 1. So she's actually the only counter charger in the deck, which is pretty crazy, but we take it, so that's why we do like to play her. And then for the last grade 2s, thankfully this card was reprinted in the deck set. I got 2 copies here of Jewel Knight Sword Me. What a card, man. What a card. This is on place. You can counterblast a card with Jewel Knight in its card name, so unfortunately it is name restricted, like the one Revenger in the Revenger deck. You have to counterblast a card with Revenger in its card name. Here you have to counterblast a card with Jewel Knight in its card name, but you get to call a grade 1 Jewel Knight from your deck, which you have some good utility grade 1 Jewel Knights that we're about to get into, so we'll show you how effective Sword Me can be. On to the grade 1s. We got 4 copies here of this Fruiting Jewel Knight Eunice. Eunice is like actually one of the best grade 1s in the deck. Eunice does so much. So Eunice, at the end of the battle she boosts, you can tuck a normal unit back to the bottom of your deck, soul charge 1, and then she bounces herself to her hand. So she can help you ensure that you're going to call 3 Jewel Knights at the Salome term if you go to 4. So she's really good in that regard. But if she's called over, you get to retire a unit in the same column as her on your opponent's side of the board. And if you don't retire, you get to draw a card. So she's actually really good. Like arguably the best grade 1 in the deck. Always will plus you or help like control your opponent's board. So Eunice is really, really good. And then 4 copies of the Security Jewel Knight Alwyn. And Alwyn is an amazing card. So Alwyn also rests, puts a normal unit to the bottom of the deck, and you soul charge 1, and you give one of your Vanguards with Jewel Knight its card name 5k. The cool thing though is that when she's called over, you get to look at the top 2 cards of your deck, add a Jewel Knights from among them, and put the rest on the bottom in any order. So she helps you filter and get like good pieces to your hand, so she also helps you plus. So that's why we like Alwyn as well. And then for the final grade 1 in the deck, we're playing Calling Jewel Knight Christine. 3 copies of this. This is also reprinted in the deck set, so don't get alarmed by my double R's. I just like shiny cardboard, so my friend had this deck. I bought it off of him because he had the shiny stuff. So that's how we roll. So shout out Nick. But yeah, this card's crazy. So she's on place, counterblast 1, reveal a grade 3 card from your hand. You get to call a Jewel Knight grade 3 from your deck to rear guard, and then at the end of the turn, you get to bounce that grade 3 to your hand and then discard a card. So the reason why, again, because I had someone in my Revenger profile be like, oh, well, why are you only playing 1 OG Raging Form? Because Hexlay can get to it. Same philosophy here of I'm playing the 1 Salome because Christine can get to it if I just reveal a grade 3 from my hand. So while the Hexlay is a true 1 card extension, this card does pretty much facilitate the same kind of role in the deck. Plus 2, like if you're going second, you don't want to be drawing the OG Salome. You want to be drawing these V Salomes to like really have your Crystal Luster turns be impactful. So Christine also can help you like enable like some multi-attack too on grade 2 turn. I can show you that combo to you guys. But yeah, this card is really neat, really cool. So we love Christine here for that reason. Moving on into the triggers. Oh, I almost forgot. You gotta play the Sanctitude though. Always play the Sanctitude. Sanctitude's too important. All right, now onto the triggers. I got 3 copies of the Stride Crit. You want to be playing these. This helps enable you for Stride. I don't think I have to really go over this now. Like these have been out now for years, since 2020. So, yeah, please play those cards. This is a kind of a contentious spot, and actually, like, I've been going kind of back and forth, but I'm actually right now on the OG Premium Collection into Soul Crits, but these can be the, what's his name, Alt Mile defensive draw crits. The problem is Belarus, like, sometimes you need the soul because, like, you don't find your soul charging appropriately. And so you need to like have a way for the unit kit to get shoved to soul, so that way like your Salome turns are effective. And since Belarus only works if you're on an Alt Mile Vanguard, it doesn't work for the Jewel Knight deck. So that's why like this is applicable. And so that's why I'm playing it. However, if you really do want to play the Belarus just for the defensive draw, it's perfectly fine, and you just have to manage your resources a little bit better. This just lets you play a little bit more greedy, which is absolutely fine. So now you're probably trying to figure out like why I'm not maxing out on the playsets. Well, it's because Bushiroad was fire and gave us this as a promo. Don't worry, I still actually have my full playset of this card, but this is Starlight Jewel Knight Bartram. Bartram is so cool. Bartram is a trigger that recycles himself back to the deck. So if you have 3 at the end of the turn, if you control 3 or more other Jewel Knight rear guards, so you have to have 4 Jewel Knights on the board. But if 4 Jewel Knight rear guards on the board. Including him. So 3 others, you get to draw a card and then shuffle them back into the deck. So lets you just have some crit recycle here, lets you plus up if you actually like get to call him from the deck. That's like an actual like free card to your hand. So really good card. I do not diss that one at all. 3 copies of the Draw PG, because Draw PGs are good and we need defense in the deck, so hoorah. And then 4 Heal Guardian. Not only does it complement Christine, you could though, however, like play one of the counter charge soul charge heal, because there are some times where you do like run low on resources. So I actually wouldn't hate on a 3-1 split here, but like I just want to live. So plus like Royals anyway has like really terrible G guards, so like just being able to mitigate damage early is nice. So we like that. And then kind of similar thought process here. I am on the blue OT, but you can play the purple OT in this deck because like you get effects of calling over cards. The purple OT is a guaranteed heal and a multi-attack. It's just only good in terms of like where its stride timing lies. Is it's only good on like your Evangeline turns and then your second Crystal Luster swing, because you're already resetting the board with a Crystal Luster swing on the first go with the Salome effect. So it's only really good, like its maximum value is on that second drive check. And then there's some times where like that card isn't useful, like literally it's a vanilla trigger like on your first drive check. Well, this at least can deal your opponent an extra damage, you know what I mean? So that's why I'm there. You just kind of want to push a little bit early with this deck, so that's why I'm on the blue overtrigger. But like if you guys don't want to play it, I completely respect that decision, and will not be like, oh my gosh, you are playing it wrong if you are playing the purple OT, because no, it's always down to player preference. For me, by the end of the day, I'm just showing you guys what I'm comfortable with, of course. But enough of me yapping about that. Let's get into that G zone, homie, because that's where all the homies hang out, you know what I'm saying? So 3 copies here of Evangeline for the G zone. Evangeline here you can play 3 copies of, because you only need to flip up a Jewel Knight G unit and then a copy of herself for her act skill. So again, same thing both between the Cecilia Stride and Raging Rapt. If you're on the grade 3 that the deck set holds, you get to pitch some grade 3 cards from your hand and then stride it, and it doesn't matter what your opponent's thing is on as long as it's in the main phase. And then you get to get the Crest and then 2 imaginary gift forces. So yeah, this card's really good. Like, this actually insane. And then her skill though is like the most underwhelming, like out of all of them, is that if you get to flip a copy of herself face up, and then you get to give all your Jewel Knight rear guards plus 3k for every one in your G zone, so plus 6k. Kind of underwhelming, but the fact that you get like the free call from her to thin out a card, and then like if you have 4 units you can give her a crit, is kind of cool. So that's what I'm saying, like why the purple OT would be good is like it kind of facilitates you some multi-attack if you don't search an Ashley off her. So there's that. But then I got the best stride in Royals, 3 copies of the Crystal Luster Dragon. Thank goodness this card got reprinted, bro. They have actually been needing to curb this card down so hard because this has been gatekeeping people from playing actually the Jewel Knight deck. But this card is insane. This card is just flip up a card in your G zone, and you get to copy the heart card. So copy Ashley, copy Salome, all those like crazy times. You know what I'm saying? But the other crazy thing is that his guard restricts is so much better than Chainrakers. If you have 2 grade 2 or greater units, or 3 or more grade 2 or greater units, your opponent has to guard with 3 or more cards from hand. And since he says units, he checks for himself. So he already facilitates 1 of the 3. And since you're always going to be calling grade 2s and grade 3s in this deck with like Ashley and all the wonderful grade 2s we have, that guard restrict going to be live at GB3. On to other strides, I got Divine Knight of Triumph Euglos. This is the Premium Collection 2020 stride. This card, however, though, is extremely good. The reason I'm playing 2 and not like 2 of like the Twin Sword Knight is because I'm expecting Gridora to be a little bit supported in terms of playability because of how popular Neonectar and Granblue is. So this card lets you play in the Gridora matchup extremely easy because not only does like Salome like pretty much play around the Gridora anyway with like a Crystal Luster stride, but if you have to ride Ashley and you have to be riding all these grade 3s that really don't have good Crystal Luster synergy in the Gridora matchup, this stride frees you out and also can potentially give you an additional force marker. So because his skill is counter last one when he attacks, you flip a card face up in your G zone. You draw equal to the amount of rear guards you have, then you call over them, so you'll proc all your Jewel Knight effects, and then if you have 5 or more rear guards, you get an imaginary gift force. So really good card here, like lets you like multi-attack like crazy. So that's why we like that card, especially for the Gridora matchup. Again, that card does come up a lot. One, like I said, one of the same Twin Sword, as you guys can see, like this one was reprinted in the deck set. When he attacks while boosted, kind of us when you call 2 grade 2 cards from your deck, I believe, or is it grade 2? Yeah, grade 2 cards, and then when a unit is placed on rear guard from your deck, that unit gets plus 5k for each face-up card in your G zone. So there's some times where that card comes up, like if you don't have like a really good board, and you can just kind of play out of it with that. So heck yeah. One of the GB8, just because again, you call cards out of your deck, so you're calling over units, Jewel Knight effects, and you can get to GB8 pretty quickly in this deck because like the Evangeline stride will always get you to GB3. So sometimes where that comes up, and then one of the Harmonics Messiah because Harmonics Messiah is a goated card, and then to the most underwhelming part of the entire G zone. We'll come to the G guards. 2 of this one that says if you have a front or rear guard, you can flip one and it gets 10k. So there's our plot maker for GB1. Plot maker if we have 2 or more grade 2 units in the front row. Grade 2 or if you have 2 or more grade 2 rear guards, this unit gets plus 10k, but it's a continuous. So like you can't be like, oh, 10k and then intercept, because then it loses the 10k and it just goes back down to 20. So be cognizant of that. We got the one that makes the rear guard a PG. But I will never for the life of me understand why did Bushiroad give the 10k shield to the rear guard that's a PG? Just give it to him. Like if this could just be a plot maker, be like, okay, yeah, you give it the Sentinel effect. Because your opponent's already going to try to dunk on the Sentinel rear guard. Like this card was designed very poorly. This was very sad to see like Royals continue to get shafted in the G guard department. So that's why we have to play cards like Dismal, because our G guards are that bad. But don't worry about that, man, because it's all groovy over here. Typically you want to be going force 1 though, since like you're getting a bunch of power, you're calling over stuff. But there's sometimes where you can go force 2. But yeah, don't worry. I don't have crazy force markers for this deck. I just am using the ones that were provided, but they're still pretty nice, man. Because like you got them foiled out and stuff like that. Like ooh, look at me. The Evangeline ones, I actually really like how they turned out. But there you have it, everybody. What a deck, man. What a deck. I've been wanting to play this deck forever, especially ever since the V Salome came out. But Crystal Luster has been expensive. But thankfully now they've made this deck a little more accessible. So I hope that you guys really get a chance to come out and try Jewel Knights. This deck is so much fun. I love playing this deck, and it actually does have some pretty solid position right now in the metagame. So do not sleep on this deck and be aware of what this deck does for BCS. I will be showing off some combos in a separate video. So guys, please be sure to stay tuned for that. But with that being said, make sure you guys go like, comment, subscribe. Keep helping me push on my way up to 2K. We're so close to 1.5, and I'm very thankful for all of your guys' support and continuing to be with me here. I miss you guys, as I'm in France at the time of this recording of this video. So yeah, I'll be there, so I won't be able to see all the lovely feedback, but know that I will be thinking of you guys, and really am very, very excited to get back to the content grind once I return and get ready for BCS Duluth. But I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day and a wonderful rest of your week. God bless, and of course, take care.